Hello, this is Movie Monster, and here's some stuff I watched. Award season started in full force with Todd Field's Tar, his first film in 16 years. There's still 3 months to go and plenty of films that already have massive acclaim, but I'm already calling Cate Blanchett's lead performance as one of, if not the best of the year so far. Blanchett plays Lydia Tarr, an incredibly accomplished female conductor who is about to embark on her greatest accomplishment, but as she goes about her life and things get closer to completion, her past begins to catch up with her. That's all I'll really say, because this film is better left experienced than described. It's long, slow, and delves deep into minutia, but I think the runtime works in its favor. It would have been a very different film had it been trimmed, and by following Tar for so long, the plot developments become, in my opinion, that more effective. Due to the initially cryptic trailers, I didn't know too much going in, but now that I've seen it, I can say, without giving too much away, that it's an unflinching look at our current society, particularly as it pertains to cultural figures. Tar is assured, talented, and certainly worthy of praise and respect, but she's also a bit too assured, and her darker side begins to show through early on in the film. There were some scenes that were like dominoes. You know eventually they're going to fall, and indeed they do. There's a lot of plot ambiguity as well, which I think works in the film's favor. This isn't an easy movie, and I left the theater really thinking about what I had just watched. The real reason to watch it is Blanchett, who gives a powerhouse performance that affected me more than anyone else so far this year. I believed her as the character, from her introduction during a New Yorker conversation to later scenes that gut-punched me harder than I felt in a while watching a movie. This is, in my opinion, certainly among my favorite films this year. It might not be for everyone, but I hope you all enjoy it. Triangle of Sadness won the Palme d'Or this year, beating out several assumed competitors and giving director Ruben Östlund a rare double win, and it was one of my most anticipated films this year. A scathing takedown of the super rich, it follows the passengers in a luxury cruise and the crew members who are hoping to benefit from their wealthy clientele if things go right. Of course, they don't. In fact, they go horribly, disastrously, spectacularly wrong, and before long both passenger and crew member begin to realize that the line between the haves and have-nots isn't as concrete as they may have thought. Harris Dickinson and Charlie Dean, who play a celebrity model couple with relationship issues, get a good amount of the focus in the story, but there's other great characters as well, including fertilizer baron Dimitri, played by Zlatko Buric in a great performance, and a Marxist sea captain played by Woody Harrelson. It is unfortunately worth noting that this is Dean's final role, having unexpectedly passed away mere months after the film's premiere. The satire here is brutal, and the audience I was with was laughing throughout. That's not to say it's entirely wacky, as the director's last 2 films have pushed the limits of black comedy into being a drama with jokes, and indeed at some point there's a tonal shift that, if you don't already know by now, I won't spoil. However, at nearly 2.5 hours it did start to drag, especially in the third act, and the ending left a lot to be desired. It's still one of the better comedy movies out right now, and while I wouldn't say it's among the year's best, it didn't disappoint. Be warned, however, this film is not for the squeamish, as there's a sequence of gross-out humor that may rank among the funniest in cinema. Finally, I wanted to talk about Senior, a documentary I saw at the New York Film Festival that recently got acquired by Netflix and will hopefully have wide distribution soon. Robert Downy Jr. needs no introduction, but his father, who was also involved in film, is a different story, and this documentary aims to correct that. Directed by Chris Smith, who also directed a few documentaries I love, such as American Movie, The Yes Men, and Fire, The Greatest Party That Never Happened, Senior delves into the work of Downey Sr., who is about as far from Marvel as one can get. His low-budget, button-pushing films like Chafed Elbows and Putney Swope cast non-actors were often made on the fly and created purely for the fun of it. It also plays around with the documentary form itself, as the subject takes control of the narrative by producing an alternate cut of the documentary that is made in tandem. While it's certainly a good introduction to Downey Sr.'s underground work, all of which is currently available on Criterion Channel, the emotional core of the film is the real draw. Aside from delving into how Downey Sr.'s life choices impacted his son's infamous behavior, the film slowly shifts from a history lesson to something else entirely, as Downey Sr., who passed away last year, nears the end of his life. Downey Sr. is not merely the father of Downey Jr., but a father, and the film presents an incredibly raw and powerful depiction of a son and his own children dealing with the impending unthinkable. While the star power may likely attract initial attention, this is definitely a great documentary for fans of underground filmmaking and filmmaking in general. Just prepare to bring the tissues. That's all for now, and I hope to have more movie reviews for you soon.